Stampers. My name is Linda Bedinger and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Denver, Colorado. And this is my buddy Puccini, who helps me in the craft room and at least keeps me company. He's been sound asleep in a box. That Stampin' Up! Box that had material that came this week. And I always hold my boxes for a good week because Puccini gets in them and he naps, and he loves, as you might know if you own cats, they love boxes and confined areas, and he spends a little time in the box. Today I have for you my February paper pumpkin alternatives, and I had a little bit of fun with this kit. And given that we're working on masculine cards, I did make a couple of them more masculine in design, so that if you got the paper pumpkin and you needed a couple masculine cards, you could get a couple out of here. So let's just get started. Okay, this is the paper pumpkin, and it is called, let me see if I can get the light where you can actually see what it says. It says Hello Spring. And this is the February 2025 paper pumpkin. And let me show you what is in the kit. This is part of the material. You get some tear tape and some linen thread, and our Stampin' Spot is Petunia Pop. Then we get these materials to make 9 cards, and they're interesting little designs, and the envelope is quite different this time. Let me show you one of the envelopes. They're kind of this tan or this basic beige color, and then the insides have this pretty green pattern, which is also one of the card bases. And so that is part of the kit. And then there's laser cuts. In these kinds of labels, this one says mint, and then there's a picture of a mint plant. Then this one is a separate die cut that is of the mint plant. And then there's a couple of things in here. There's chives, basil, and mint. And there's basil and mint and basil here. Then there's 2 others that aren't designated as to what they might be. And then there's lots of chives. And there's this label here that's kind of a green stripe label. And let me show you the stamp set. It's easier to look at the printed piece they put in there. It says, Sending Love, Hello Spring, For You, Happy Easter, Thanks for Helping Me Grow, Chives. There's this little bloom head that's very much like the chives bloom head that comes. There's this little texture piece, To a Wonderful Friend. So it's a really nice stamp set. I took my chives label, this was all one piece here, and I took mine off so I could use this stamp separately. These are other labels that come in there, shorter ones and longer ones with some texture on the end in that pop of pink, and a couple of these round blooms or round labels, which I didn't use. I've quite a bit of material left. This was one of the card bases, kind of a basic beige with a bronze foiling to it. This was the blue with that same texture pattern here, and this is Lost Lagoon. The envelopes, and then this was the other card base. So that's what you got in here. And I made 5 cards. I usually make 5 or 6. And I could have kept going, but I felt like I wanted to get this up. So this is what I have done. This one, I cut out a piece of that card front and put it on cut a blue card front out and made it 4 by 5 1/4. And then I put a strip of the bronze colored one across here with another strip of this going this way. And I put my Hello Spring on that little striped thing, and I stamped the flowers on this chives, because this, when it comes in the label form, it doesn't have the flowers in it, so I just added those. And on the inside, I just put a couple of strips. The outside of that envelope that we were looking at is this beigey color, which is really very pretty. And so I cut up an envelope and I used some of the inside, and Puccini took a chunk out of it. But I stamped some chives on the inside, and that is my card number 1. And then next, I did this one that's kind of crazy. But I took all of those laser cuts and I just used a basic white card base here, and I put a strip of this on here, and that strip is 1.5 inches wide, and then the full length of the card. And then I put one each of these laser cuts out here, and I started to use some twine, and as I laid it across, I really liked the kind of curly Q effect it had. And I thought this one could go to a guy who's a gardener, and I know lots of them. And it says, "Just to a wonderful friend," and I used that little texture stamp in the Lost Lagoon here to add a little bit of texture. And I cut these off, and I used glue dots to anchor them down, and then had just lots of trails on them, and I kind of like it. It's kind of fun, different. And on the inside, I put another piece of that blue all the way across here, the chives, and a little bit of that texture. So that is my card number 2. I really like that one. Okay, then I made this one. And I used 2 circles to make a frame, and then I put some of laser cuts around it, and I stamped the chives on the back. And so I added this texture on the back, and I thought this made a pretty little birthday card. And to this piece here, which is this one, I just added dashes of the petunia pop with my alcohol marker, just to make it look like it was a little flower instead of, I don't know what it's supposed to be. And on the inside, I put a strip of this green paper. I stamped the chives and added a few flowers. Again, Puccini took a bite out of that one too. But that is my card number 3. All right, card number 4, along the lines of the masculine, I put this on a basic beige card base that is 8.5 by 5.5 scored and folded at 4 1/4. And what I did was I took some of this blue card base and I cut 1-inch squares. And I cut 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is 1, so that's 6. And then out of the bronze, I cut 1 1/4 inch squares. And then I just arranged them on the front here, and I thought that was a pretty little masculine card. And it just says happy birthday on it, real simple, and has a few blue dots. I couldn't exactly find Lost Lagoon, but the in color adhesive dots for 2325 had this blue in it, and I thought that worked pretty well. So, and the inside I made very plain. You can write your message on here, the blue, the beige, and then one of those squares down here. So that is my card number 4. So we have 2 that could be masculine. And then I added one more. When I cut out these circles, I was left with this circle for the inside and then this frame, and not being one to waste anything, I put the bronze card front down 4 by 5 1/4, and then put down this outline trim, which is the outside of where I cut this out, put the center in here, and this little, this way, and this little stamp here says "For You," and then I used a 1-inch punch to cut it out. And I used one of these labels here that had the basil and just made it. I thought you could get away with that for a masculine card too. It's not real fussy, and it's just herbs. I did darken this and go over that with my alcohol marker, because that particular thing, I did it here too, is very pale and almost doesn't show up. And then on the inside of this card, I put another one of those laser cuts and a strip of the paper. And there we go. That is my 5 cards for this paper pumpkin. I hope you enjoyed that, and trying to fit in still with our masculine theme. I think of all of them, this is my favorite. I really like the geometric kind of look to this, and I think my second favorite is probably this one, that is To a Wonderful Friend. And but you know, I don't dislike any of them, and it's because it's just herbs, it lends itself. I think you could probably get away with maybe all but this one to a guy. So there we go. Thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel today. I do so appreciate it. And if you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, well, I'd love to be your demonstrator. That's it for me. We've got a little bit left for celebration. 28th, that's today. So today is the last day to get some freebies for that. That's it for me. I will be back soon with more cards, more tips, and more projects. Bye.